Hello, everyone. It is Friday, October 16th, 2020, and this is a special episode of the AIPC interviews where we are going to talk about the new iPhones. And my guests this evening, well, it's just this evening for me anyway, are two people that have been on my show before. And we have from Tiny Shutter, we have Dave Podnar. Hey, Dave.
Hey, Greg. How's it hanging?
Good. And from Twitter and Instagram and wherever else she may be under the name of the Storyographist, we have Cielo de la Paz. How are you, Cielo?
Doing good. So excited to talk about this today.
Yes. So we're going to get right to it because you graciously took some time out of your vacation to come on and geek out with us on this. So new iPhones. The announcement was Tuesday, and if it wasn't for working night shifts, I probably wouldn't have slept since then. But I'm pretty excited, and I'm sure you guys are too. So, okay, first of all, Cielo, let's hear what you're looking at picking up.
Oh my gosh. So I had a little bit of an indecision. I originally thought I was going to wait until the Max comes out, which is November 6th, because we all know we could talk about the details later, but it just generally has the better camera. But then I woke up this morning and I was like, everybody else is going to have an iPhone 12 before me. So fear of missing out. I was like, oh, we'll just get the iPhone 12 Pro and let's see how we like it. So I ordered the iPhone 12 Pro. I'm picking it up October 23rd.
Well, that's cool. So, okay, now here's the thing. And I sent this to Dave and the other Tiny Shutter guys in a chat, like an iMessage chat, that I was a little annoyed at the differences between the Pro and the Pro Max.
Yep.
And that is that the 12 Pro, the telephoto lens has a better aperture of f2.0 as opposed to the 2.2 on the Max. But the Max has, on the wide camera, it has the sensor stabilization.
The OIS, right?
But the smaller Pro does not have that.
Yes.
But I think, and the other advantage to the Pro Max is the better range optically on the telephoto. It goes to 65 millimeter.
Right.
So,
what is up with that? I know I would hope that if I was going to get the Max, that everything on it would just be better. But it was weird that the non-Max had the better aperture.
Yeah, like I think, I don't know. Is it room inside the case, like inside the body of the phone for, putting these things together, or what do you think?
I'm thinking it has to be the focal length difference somehow.
Huh.
The Max having and this is a minor grievance with me with Apple's marketing side, saying it has a 4x zoom range.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can go from double wide to 2 for the Pro and double wide to 2.5, so you got a 5 zoom range.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't. I know that's technically correct, but it's really a little sleazy. Because at least in my mind, what they call wide, which up until last year everyone considered the normal lens.
Right.
That's your grounding. It's kind of like saying, well, my car has 6 gears, 1 in reverse and 5 forward.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay. So aside from, the little annoyances, Cielo, what excites you about the Pro?
So a few things, a lot of things. I think the main one is the 10-bit encoding, which allows for HDR. And
yes.
I'm hoping
and out of all the cameras too.
Yeah.
Even the front-facing camera.
Right. And that's kind of amazing. So I can't wait to see what that looks like. And then the second thing is the stabilization on the telephoto lens, right?
Actually,
Which
the
one?
wide.
The wide.
The
Sorry,
wide.
sorry.
Well, the,
Yeah,
the
no, no.
wide has sensor stabilization.
I just happen
and
to have Apple sight up here.
Okay, thank you.
I'm
The
not doing it from memory.
the
doesn't the
stabilization, yes.
yeah, doesn't the telephotos have optical stabilization?
Yeah.
That's what I
And
thought. Okay.
Yeah.
wide angle has it in the sensor
Mm-hmm.
on the Max.
Right. So I think in general, the stabilization on the Max, I mean, because what I experienced with the 11 Pro is the stabilization made a huge difference. And so I'm wondering, okay, now they're really focused on it. And then I've really used my gimbal a lot less because of that for the 11 Pro. So I'm wondering, the 12, is it like how much better is it going to be? And so I'm really excited about that.
Yeah.
I'll say that wide lens is probably to me the biggest change because I right now have a 10 and I'm still on I just paid it off. So I'm still on the fence of I kind of like not paying that extra $40 a month.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And the phone's working well. And that's something Apple, of course, has to deal with is that, yeah, I have an iPhone 10 and it works perfectly fine. And, I'm sure people will come out and we'll start seeing photos, maybe even as early as next Thursday, if people get them early. Mm-hmm. And I'll be blown away. I'm like, okay, Ruth has an older phone. She'll probably get the phone first because she only has a 7 Plus.
Oh, that's gonna be a great upgrade. Oh my god, lucky.
But but the fact of the larger pixel and the sensor shift stabilization, that is just going to make a major difference.
Yeah, and LiDAR, I forgot to mention.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like portrait mode at night.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's insane. Well, and the selfie camera, like, I'm sorry, but I do take a lot of selfies, just group photos.
Yeah.
And at night, that's going to be such a big difference. And that comes on all the phones. So that's not just the pros.
The LiDAR?
That's be great. No, I'm sorry. No, the night mode on the.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Jumped over real quick. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's going to be cool. What was I going to bring up here? I lost it for a sec.
Sorry, I totally.
No. Now, when you did mention LiDAR, though, that makes me wonder because we have a new iPad Pro. We had got it in the spring this year, and that has the LiDAR on it. But all that does is AR on the iPad.
Yeah.
And
it's a little bit useless. I have the same iPad and I thought I would use it more, but honestly, like definitely it has not, as I don't take photos or make videos with my iPad, first of all.
Oh, you don't do large format?
No. Is that what it's called?
Pretty much what it would feel like.
I know, right? It's like giant format.
You'd be out there with a towel over your head.
So true. I should make a video just doing that, pretending.
You have to. You have to now. You have to.
But yeah, I mean, I agree with Dave. Is that I haven't seen it make a difference, obviously, in the photos that I don't take with my iPad.
But I mean, it would, and I'm kind of wondering if a third-party app like a Halide, I'm assuming they can't, because they would. No, seeing their history, if there's something they could do, they will do it. So I'm assuming there's something where Apple's not letting them deep go in and say, you know what, even though we're not using it as Apple, we'll give you the APIs and the deep level that you can start using that as part of photography. Maybe
now they'll do it. Maybe because it was just only on the iPad.
Yeah.
That now that it's on the phones, which is what truly everybody uses to take photos and video, that they might, and I hope that they do allow third-party apps to access that scanner.
Yeah, that'd be really nice. And I'm also waiting for the first teardown to see, is it the same scanner?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right.
Or is the iPad used like version 1 of the LiDAR and the iPhones are now an upgraded.
That'd be amazing if it is.
Yeah. So Cielo, you've played around with Focus Live.
Oh my gosh, I love that thing. Yes.
And now I wonder if those guys will be able to
Yeah.
somehow, like Dave was just talking about, have an API to. They've already got it started. Like they've already,
Yep. Yeah.
and they're doing a pretty good job of it with it. But
They
can you
are.
imagine how well the LiDAR sensor would help their app?
Yeah, and also because it is a faster chip, I know that's probably one of the things that was preventing them from doing it real time. That's why it was just done in post. But I'm wondering, can they now do it in real time? And can it be a much better detection of edges? Because right now, it's not perfect. But I'm wondering, with the new processing power, with the added LiDAR scanner, if it could help with that, is it now possible to do that real-time blurring and bokeh?
I have to wonder because with the introduction of Apple Pro RAW, where they're giving you a RAW file with a little bit of their, I always call it magic sauce, built into the file. Like it's going to be basically a semi-processed RAW file that you can still process like a regular RAW file. Compatibility-wise, I think maybe Lightroom, Luminar, Photoshop, some of the big guns, they might have, they might be ready for it. But as far as the video side of it, if Apple's allowing an API out for their Pro RAW, who's to say they won't make an API or put one out for, like portrait video?
Right? Yeah.
To make use of the LiDAR sensor.
Yeah. I'm hoping that they allow a lot of things to happen.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know. Who knows what Filmic Pro has been up to? Lockdown over there. But I imagine that they've been working on something and that they have a new version that's going to be coming out, and that will hopefully take advantage of the new technology and the chip.
Yeah.
And also just the how powerful those chips are now. I mean, it is absolutely crazy how powerful those phone chips are.
I know. I mean, on the 11 Pro, it's already amazing. I can't imagine it. Like, everything's fine already. Editing the 4K in LumaFusion is a breeze. It really is. And so I'm like, oh my God, my phone's just going to smoke and it's just going to be so fast. I don't know, but it is super powerful and fast.
Even on my 10s Max, if I edit a video in Photos, even, say I give it a filter and I put a vignette on it and all that stuff. Well, all those changes have to be put to every single frame of the video.
Yes.
And it really doesn't take all that long on mine.
Yeah.
I haven't done it with an 11 Pro Max or anything to see the differences, but even on mine, it's pretty quick. And the chipset in mine is nowhere near what you have in the 11 Pro. And then coming up in the 12 Pro, because the way those chips work is a totally different the way my chip works. Mine works, I don't know, all at once, whereas the ones in the 11 Pro and the 12 Pro, they utilize certain parts of the processors and all that stuff to do different functions, and that's probably quicker and more efficient, and two, it gives you a lot longer battery life.
Yeah, and that too is the battery life as well, and it's much more efficient use of the power. And I agree. Like so far I've had zero complaints on the 11 Pro in terms of the speed. And so I'm happy with the faster chip, and I'm hoping it just enables it to do more. And I didn't really have problems with the processing power as it is in the 11 Pro.
Yeah. So you're going to have to head out here shortly. Any final thoughts on the new stuff coming out?
I am just super excited. Oh, what I want to ask you is the color. We've got some bling blings happening here. We got the
Oh
gold, we got the
yeah.
Pacific blue. Where are you at with the colors?
For me, Pacific Blue.
Yes.
Yeah, I do like the blue. I do like the blue. The gold's a little too
It's too flashy.
jewelry. It's a little
Yeah.
too, at least for me. No, I understand it's pretty from without seeing it in person. It looks really pretty.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, honestly, if the blue, of course, I think everyone else is. I don't know if it's just because it's the new color.
Yeah.
Where last year it was the green.
Yeah.
Where what I'm seeing is the blue is the one that's in the lowest supply.
Yep. I saw that this morning. Yep. Yeah. I think the blue is great. And I actually really like the iPhone 12 colors. They're a lot more, brighter. I think you have the yellow, the red, and then the blue. I wish they'd offer that for the Pro. Like, why are we boring with the colors? But yeah, I'm down. Like the Pacific blue is definitely where I'm going to.
I'm also shocked they just don't offer the red because because the money partially goes to charity.
Right.
Yeah, really.
Just offer that and everything.
Well, they might put a special edition out, later on.
Yeah.
They've done that before.
Yeah.
For me, second choice would be graphite. Everything I've had since they brought out Space Gray has been Space Gray ever since the 5S.
Nice.
And I really like that whole, like my Apple Watch is the Space Gray, and so I mean, if I can't get the blue, then I'll get the graphite. They changed it to graphite too. It's no longer called Space Gray.
Space Gray, it's graphite, yeah, which is a little bit more descriptive. Like, what is Space Gray?
Yeah, really.
Well, it has been great chatting with you. I'm really sorry I have to slip away early, but I looking forward to what you both create, seeing what you both create with the new phones.
Yeah, and same as you. I'm just itching to see what you can put together with this Dolby Vision and all that stuff that comes with it. And but thanks, Cielo, for coming on with basically no notice, but a half an hour.
No, thank you for having me. I'm always happy to chat with you.
Yeah. So I'm thinking when these arrive at people's places and we get a chance to play around with them, I'm going to do another show. With whoever I can get, and we'll just talk about it again. So, maybe we'll get you back for that too.
Yes, absolutely. I would love to do that. Thank you.
Yeah. Alrighty. So I'll tell everybody where. I'll let everybody know where they can find you at the end of the show. I've got all your social outlets and that recorded or written down or someplace anyway.
Yeah.
And so.
Awesome.
Enjoy the rest of your vacation, and thanks again for coming on.
Awesome. Thanks, Greg. Bye, Dave.
Nice meeting you. Nice meeting you. Bye.
So that was Cielo de La Paz, a storyographist on Instagram and Twitter, and she's a great videographer, does some courses and things like that. I'll have links to all that stuff and I'll put it in the show notes. But so Dave, let's talk about the meat and potatoes of these things.
Okay.
Processor and things like that. What though? I don't think they really went into a lot of detail about that in the announcement, did they?
No, they didn't. But they are starting to come out, and the fact that the RAM in the Max is more than the Pro. I mean, not the Pro. I mean, Pro versus the 12, the regular 12. The RAM's higher, but because there's a couple. I don't think are they doing the raw. This is what I'm trying to get right here. Let me look at tech specs. I don't know if they're doing the raw in the 12 or if it's only the Pro. I'm thinking it's only the Pro though.
Well, all it has is a little asterisk beside it, and I think,
of course,
down at the bottom. I think. I think that's because it's not out yet. It doesn't come out till later, right?
Right.
Like
Right. But it's only available on the Pro. It's not available on the regular 12.
Okay, that's what it says on the website.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm thinking it's the same processor. So the RAM's got to make the difference there.
Yeah.
Because that's really physically the only difference between the let me see here. That's really the only difference between the Pro and the regular is the amount of RAM. So the 12 regular and mini have 4 GB, and the Pro have 6.
Yeah.
And right now, if anyone's listening has an Android phone, yes, we know Android phones have faster chips and more RAM. We understand that, but
Yeah. Yeah, and when you look on the tech specs on the website for under the chip part of it, it says
Mhm.
A14, and all it says is A14 Bionic chip and next generation neural engine, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's all they list. But I guess it's because, I mean, I would only think that it's because it's last year they had the A13 Bionic, and it's going to basically work the same way. It's just going to be, better, stronger, faster. Like, I don't know how else to put it, right?
Yeah. And I know there are people complaining, and like I said, I understand that this is almost going back to the iPhone 6 era. Because if you remember, the 6 and the 6 Plus had different camera systems.
Oh, really?
The 6 and the 7 had the one.
Oh, yeah, because
had the one camera.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the 6 Plus and 7 Plus, if you wanted to get the telephoto lens and the 2 lenses, you had to go to the Plus models. And because I had the 6 Plus, Ruth had the 6, I had the 6 Plus. The 6 Plus had the optical image stabilization. The 6 didn't.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess, I don't know, maybe it's all part of their marketing strategy with each different device. They're going to, they want you to decide which one you want, right? Like, I mean, case in point with the 12 Pro and the 12 Pro Max, you got to decide, do you want a better telephoto with a better aperture, like on the 12 Pro, or do you want the sensor stabilized wide angle of the Max?
Yeah, and honestly, I would honestly go saying I'd rather have a better wide than a telephoto.
Yeah,
because you're going to use that wide more often you will the telephoto.
Yeah, I mean, you and I, we both have phones with a wide and a tele lens on them, and I mean, hey, which one are you using more, right? So,
you know what? Because I know the way Apple, if it's between 1 and 2, it uses both.
Yes.
So
that's right.
Even that, like I'm using telephoto. Like if I'm at an event, I'll use, like everyone else, you use your phone because first of all, a lot of places won't let you bring in a dedicated camera, even though the phone is just as good as a dedicated camera these days.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And does video much better. But also you're not getting this big massive, even like the quote unquote camera I have is it's still a point and shoot, but it's a zoom point and shoot.
Oh, yeah.
So, depending on the setting you get, you can do, I forget, it's like 20 optical and like 100 and something digital zoom out of it. And it's old. It's 7-8 years old or something like that. But you can get some pretty good zoom in that you can't get with the phone, even with the 2X. And, it's nice, but, and of course, then you have to think, well, is 6.7 inches too big, to be honest?
Well, you know what? Looking at the graphic, the Pro Max, even with that big of a screen, because the bezel is smaller, they've been able to keep the overall size not much bigger than, say, the 10s Max or the 11 Pro Max. Like the dimensions. Let's see here. Okay, so for the Pro Max, the 12 Pro Max, it is 3.07 inches wide and 6.33 high. Let's see. If I went to see if I can find specs on the 10s, which is oddly enough, it's not even available on the website anymore.
Okay, yeah. So like I said, it's in terms of size-wise. Well, the thing is, I'm coming. Like I said, I'm still coming from the 10.
Yeah.
So mine's significantly smaller. Mine's even smaller than the 12 right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and of course, the other thing I use basically it's like I use my when I sell, I use my phone for really two things, and pretty much it's not for making phone calls.
Yeah.
I use my phone for, well, besides just general web surfing, taking photos and tracking my runs.
Right. Yeah.
So I have to kind of think, and I know this may be an edge case, it's like this thing, like mine's a 5.8 inch screen. This thing's 6.7. It's an extra inch bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I normally run them with my phone on my arm with an armband. And it's like, okay, at what point does it feel like you're running with an iPad mini on your arm?
Yeah. Yeah. And then, you're running like 5-10 miles or whatever at a time. You don't want that extra weight hanging off your arm, really.
Yeah.
So I was able to see a comparison here between the 10s Max and the 12 Pro Max. And height, it's 0.13 inches taller. The 12 Pro Max is 0.1. Basically, it's like 1.4 millimeters higher, but it's only let's see here. It's only not even a millimeter wider.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So it's very close to the same size.
Okay. Yeah.
And
it's actually thinner, which is crazy.
Yes, it's thinner by 0.3 millimeters. So it's not really much, but it is thinner. And the weight, the 10s Max is 7.34 ounces, and the 12 Pro Max is 8.03 ounces. So it's
And by the way, if anyone's interested in comparing maybe what they have to the new phones, just out of your own curiosity, Apple's website does a great job where you can pull up all the way back to the original SE.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at is that website. And but yeah, you can go right back to the SE, and you could do 3 different models on this page. So yeah, it's a really nice tool. But yeah, the 10s Max is no longer listed on their site to be purchased or whatever. Well, I'm sure you can get it on the Apple Store website, but
yeah, right now there's only currently, I believe it's the 12s, the 11, the 10R, I think, and the new SE.
Yeah,
which is. I understand the 11 and I guess the 10R just to give you that $100 difference, or US dollar difference.
Mm-hmm.
Just to kind of get everything together there.
Yeah. Yeah. So interesting stuff. So you are on the fence about upgrading. I tend to think you're probably not going to right away, right?
Yeah.
Would that be a safe assumption?
No. Yeah. It definitely won't be a right away. Now, this is one thing that's weird is my dad, who uses a phone for a phone, takes occasional photos. We FaceTime back and forth. He was looking at an 11 because his thought was, well, his phone's I think he actually has I think he has an 8 or 7. So his phone's getting a little old and he's having, battery issues, which not a conspiracy. Batteries tend to fail after 3 or 4 years.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Which everyone jumps on. It's like, oh, a new phone's out. My phone's dying. It's getting slow. Well, how old's your phone? 4 years old. Well, yeah, that's what happens.
Yeah. There you go.
But, he was looking for the 11. He figured, I'll just get the last year's model. I don't need the latest and greatest, and I probably can get it for cheaper. And he gets this through AT&T, and they said, we're running a special. This that you saw on the website, that's for the 12. That isn't for the 11. So I don't know if Apple's kind of nudging, trying to make sure those 12 sale numbers look really, really good. So between his trade-in and the discount they were offering him, because he was just going for he went for the 12. He didn't go for the Pro. He doesn't really need it. And he got I said, well, how much storage are you using? And I walked him through that, and he's using like 20 gigs of storage. I'm like, okay, you can go with the low end. You don't have to get the you don't have to bump yourself up. I think he's going to pay like $15 a month on an installment plan. So that's pretty good. That's pretty cheap. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's, you figure now he's out in California. So, if he goes out and normally doesn't go out for fast food, but if he went out for fast food, that's 2 fast food meals a month.
Yeah.
or one halfway decent dinner for $15.
Oh yeah. Easily sacrificable.
Exactly.
That's even worse.
Oh no. Yeah. And that's it's like, yeah. So, I mean, for that's no problem. And like I said, and I even asked her a couple months ago, and I said, okay, so they're going to come out with the latest and greatest, and, how are you with your phone right now? And she said, my phone works fine. I'm happy.
Yeah.
So,
and that's like my wife's got the 8 Plus, and she won't even take my 10s Max when I get my new one. So if I don't sell it, then I'm just going to put it in the trade-in program.
Yeah.
So she's very happy with her 8 Plus, and she doesn't do a lot of pictures and video and stuff like that. Like, she'll take the odd picture of the dogs or whatever, but she doesn't use a lot of space on her phone, and so I mean it's perfectly suitable for her, and I can't talk her out of it.
Yeah, and like I said, Ruth definitely has the better eye for photos than I do. She has a much more artistic look to it than I do. So in terms of the colors, the blue's nice, but I have a case on my phone. So the fact that I have a white phone, no one can tell.
Yeah. Yeah, that is so true. And as much as I'd like to get the blue one, if there's short supply, and if they say, I don't know, I've never ordered freight from Apple before, so I don't know how it's going to go, but if they say the delivery date's going to be whatever, way down the road or whatever, I might just elect to go with the graphite and and be done with it. But I sure would like to have the blue one, but it'll be what it'll be, I guess. It's what's inside the thing that counts, I guess.
Yeah, and it'll be weird because my first phone was a 4S, which had
mine was too.
Squared off look to it. It'll be weird to. I'm assuming the cases, because even the cases feel rounded compared to, the squared off. So I'm assuming the cases will even be more squared off.
Yeah, I would imagine the ones from Apple would be for sure.
Oh yeah, they'll definitely.
I know Nomad has some. Nomad and Moment both have cases ready for the 12s. They're on their websites apparently. So I haven't looked them up to see what they look like, but I mean, it doesn't take these guys long to get them out there. Obviously, they get they must have really reliable sources for these leaks that come out, and they just run with it.
Well, I think some of it's leaks, and I have to believe some of it's semi-official, because one thing that you notice if you go to a store, like now you probably don't I don't know if you have them canned, like a Five Below, or just an average above a bargain bin store, above dollar store, but still like a bargain store. They will have an entire they'll have an entire rack for iPhone cases.
Yeah.
But then they'll have a half of a rack for some Samsung and others. And then if you don't have an iPhone or a Samsung, and you have to have a Galaxy, you can't have, Samsung phone A, whatever they're doing, they have to have a particular, type of it. You're out of luck trying to find a case that's made for your phone. And I think
Yeah.
Apple likes that, where they know that, oh, I have an iPhone. Oh, I'm looking for a case for my iPhone. I can go to lots of these stores and I know a case is going to be there.
Yeah.
That has to be something Apple really, really likes.
Yeah. I'm sure they do. What do you think of the fact that there's no charger in the box and headphones?
The headphones I can sort of have no problem with, to be honest, because you can get a halfway decent set of earphone, wireless or wired for like $5.
Yeah.
That, and the fact of that hasn't changed since the last phone, so that I can excuse. If they would have stayed with Lightning to USB-A, that'd be a lot more excusable to get rid of the brick. The fact that now, if you don't have have all iPhones, and you're like, oh, even like I said, with the little cheapy the headsets, they're USB, I think micro USB to USB-A. They're not USB-C on the other side. So you may not have a brick at home, which is a USB-C brick.
Yeah.
If you're just someone who just replaces their phone, you're like, oh, this cord doesn't work with the brick I have at home. And if you don't have if your computer's a couple years old, you won't have a USB-C into your computer, maybe.
Yeah, really.
So, admittedly, USB-C bricks are cheap-ish. They're not expensive, but then you have to think, I don't want to cheap out and buy the cheapest possible brick here, because that's when you see people whose phones catch on fire because they're using knockoff bricks.
Yeah. Well, Apple did, they reduced the price of their little charging bricks, the USB-C. I believe they are, I think it's $17 US. I'm not sure if that's accurate or not, but it's considerably lower than what they were, I guess.
Yeah, and there's third-party ones you can get, which are joy of working from home. There's bricks you can get that are like from home, which are which are at least brand names, which they're $10, $15, but
yeah,
it still would be. I still think they should, at least for this. I know why they didn't, to save money. And and the fact of, as I've heard other people say, okay, you're going to have to get ready, because after this year, the iPhone 13 or definitely the 14 probably won't have a charging point. It may be completely wireless. So since they got rid of the headphone, they get rid of the charging outside the speakers and the microphone, though it's going to be completely sealed.
Yeah, really.
So,
because they put this new MagSafe charger out this year, which is pretty exciting, because I think it would probably work with any iPhone that has wireless charging built in, like anything from the 8 on up.
It just doesn't. The high speed won't work. The high speed won't work, so it'll just do a normal speed for your charging, which is fine.
Well, actually, I think on the Pros, the 12 Pros, I think the high speed works.
Right. No, I meant if you, let's say, because I have wireless charging on my 10, and if you have like a 10s, you can use the MagSafe charger still, even though we don't have but it won't charge as fast as the 12. Now, the 12s will do the fast charging. Yeah. But so I mean, the fact that they changed one end, and the fact that they still have Lightning, they didn't change USB-C on both sides. So it makes me think they're really going to get rid of that charging port.
Well, I wonder if they'll put those those three little round ones that they got on the iPads now, the newer iPads. There's a name for it, but it's to do with
the smart
charging.
Anyway. The smart
smart connector. I wonder if they might even go to that as opposed to like the Lightning port or the USB-C port.
I could see that. Yeah, and just getting, and also like you said, just getting rid of the getting rid of the charge, or maybe not next year, but the year after.
Right. Yeah.
Because I don't think they're going to get. I've heard people say next year. I don't see next year because, the TikTok or really TikTok cycle now, I guess, that Apple tends to do with redesigns of how the phone looks.
Oh yeah.
I can't see them making a big change for their tooling next year after redoing how the phone case is basically this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be
invested
very
a lot
similar.
of money into getting this and the stainless on one, the aluminum on the other, and getting the materials right and all this. So I could see looks wise next year's, the 12S, 13, because there was no 11S. So maybe we got rid of the S. We're just going to get numbers.
Yeah, it could very well be. And I could see eventually them dropping the number thing altogether and just go with, well, I don't know. Like if they did that, they'd have to go iPhone Pro, and do the same thing every year. But that doesn't make sense. So
no, and then they wouldn't be able to sell older models either.
Yeah.
And you don't really want to say, oh, it's kind of like buying a car where it's, oh, like I'm in 2020 now. Do I really want to buy a 2019 car? Even if that 2019 car is still new, do you really want to buy a year-old design with the last year's on it? So
yeah,
I could see him just go straight numbering now.
Yeah.
I mean, after all, they did completely skip 9.
Yeah. Yes, they did, didn't they?
Yeah, they went 8, 10. And a lot of people were saying, well, they're going to come up with an updated 8, and they're going to call that the 9, and they're going to call the 10 the 10S. That way, they'll differentiate between the ones with the thumbprint versus the face, and and they went with the SE.
Yeah. It's weird.
And nothing against anyone who happens to be in marketing, but sometimes marketing just makes me shake my head.
Yeah. Sometimes it's a different language altogether, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So, well,
say definitely this is exciting and as good. And when we had a person on who actually had the 11 last year on Tiny Shutter, when he showed us a couple of his night shots, I'm really excited to see what kind of night, both shots and videos, you'll be able to do with the 12 Pro.
Oh,
especially that 12 Pro Max with the wide, with the bigger pixels, and the stabilization. I'm thinking that's going to be a major boom for night photos.
Yeah, I mean, there's already like Hollywood directors making full-length feature films with the iPhone, and I could just imagine what this new one can do with the Dolby Vision and everything else.
Yeah, how
much of a game changer that's going to be for people like that. I mean, it's going to take their production costs and just slaughter them. To the point where I don't know. It's just crazy what they're coming out with these phones. Well, I guess we'll wait and see how they all play out, and I mean, I can't wait to see what some of the reviewers are going to be putting out, especially with photos and video, and even the benchmark specs and stuff that some of them do. It's going to be crazy. So I'm hoping that when I pre-order, I can get it as soon as it becomes available, like a week later, and not have to wait 2 months or something like that. But I'm gonna do some more thinking on the color of the phone, because if I mean, if I order the blue and if it takes forever, I'm going to be so disappointed.
Right.
As much as I would like to have it, but I'm certainly not opposed to sticking with the graphite, and as mundane as it may seem, but at least it's like you said, you put a case on them and nobody sees the color anyway, unless you put a clear case on it. But yeah, it's going to be interesting, and I just can't wait to see what people do with them, and we'll just go from there.
Oh yeah.
So, well, it was a great chat, Dave. I'm glad you were able to come on short notice again, and why don't you tell everybody where they can find you?
Sure. Thanks for having me on, Greg. You can find me doing mostly photography on Instagram as Prof Pod, and some photography and some yelling and screaming into the air because it's 2020 on Twitter, also at Prof Pod.
Alrighty. And you can find me on Instagram at Macmillan Photo, on Twitter, Macmillan_photo. And this is going to sound odd, but I am back on Facebook. And there's some reasons for it. And but I'm making Facebook work for me. I'm not going to let it be that I'm working for them. I've really locked my account down tight and everything else. So that being said, you could find me in the Tiny Shutter Facebook group. Just go to the Facebook and type in Tiny Shutter, and you'll see some of my stuff in there. It's really, you know what? It is good to be back on there for that reason.
Yeah.
Just to kind of get back in the groove of sharing stuff with a lot of people who are passionate about their iPhone photography and things like that. So it's pretty cool to be back for that. But other than that, there's a lot of things I don't miss about it. But so yeah, you can find me there, and you can find this podcast on your iPhone podcast app. Let's see, where else? iHeartRadio. There's a lot of Android phones that could pick it up. But for all the information and show notes, you can go to artfulipc.com, and the community is on MeWe. And if you go to MeWe, the website or the app, just look up the Artful iPhoneography community, and you'll find us there. And we will talk to you guys all the next time. Thanks for listening.